Welcome to Doozer Shop. We got some boring that we're doing. Let me disengage that. Pull up out of the bore. Alright. Kind of show you what I got here. Let me turn off the motor. Maybe you can hear me better. Okay. Sorry for the long intro. I took another pass on the cylinder head I'm boring out. This is a cylinder head of it's from a Ducati 250 single cylinder. And what I'm doing, let me sneak around the other side here, is I'm boring out the spark plug hole. This is really hard to see, guys. Maybe I can you can kind of get an idea of my setup. So I got an angle, adjustable angle plate. And I got it clamped to the table next to my Kurt vise. But anyways, trying to sneak you under the bridge here. You can see. Maybe. Yeah. So that's the hole that I had to bore out for the spark plug. And what happened was, sometime in a previous life, a spark plug was cross-threaded in the head, and it was crooked. And then sometime, somebody managed to get it in straight. But it kind of had the cross-threaded threads still there. And what I did is I ran a helicoil tap in to try and put a helicoil insert in. And the helicoil kind of followed well, I don't know if it followed the other set of strip threads or it split the difference between the two. But it ended up with a tapped hole that was oval and not perpendicular in any way to that gasket surface, that spot face register. So what I did is I set it up on this angle plate. So this is a cool angle plate. You can see the double knuckle adjustable trunnions that it has. And I went through it and cleaned it up and painted it blue. I just happen to have the same blue as the Kurt vise. Let me move around. It just kind of happened to be that way. I'm going to zoom in. So this is a neat little angle plate. It's got T-slots and then it's got regular half-inch slots. And I happen to have some T-nuts. So I don't know what this angle is, but I just used the plunger indicator and I dialed in the head. It's sitting, let me kind of get straight on. I'm straight on with it, and you can see how crooked it is in reference to the table. But it's whatever it is rotated and it's at an angle. And it's off the center line of the head, and or maybe it does, I don't know. But anyways, I've got, I think it's a 2.5-inch head in there with a sleeve down for 3/8 bar, carbide insert bar. And I was doing this for a guy, kind of, I did the valves, but the spark plug thread I just wanted right for him and ended up turning it into more than it should have. That's how life is in the shop sometimes. So I blued it up and inked it up. What I'm probably going to end up doing is I was going to press fit an insert of aluminum and remake the threads, retap them for M14. But I might thread it because it's the size right now for a 3/4 16 thread. But I got 2 studs, one holding it in the bolt hole and one is through a push rod tube, and that's why I got the strap clamp on there. But it works. I got this thing within half a thou in both directions. And boy, I'm proud of that that angle plate. It said made in Japan, but the tag's gone off of it, but it's engraved made in Japan. And I remilled, let me get in here. Maybe you can't see it because I have parallel bars under the clamp, but I remilled all that surface around where the slots are. And took everything apart and made it nice and true. But small little angle plate, maybe it's only like 5 by 7 inches, but this really was working good for what I needed to do with the head. So yeah, just wanted to show you guys kind of what I've been doing. And you know, tools everywhere. So I like doing projects on this 1930s SIP. I believe it's a number 4 boring mill. Not boring mill, jig bore. Jig borer. I know I say jig bore, but it's jig borer. Whatever. The Giddings Lewis, that's a horizontal boring mill. But anyways, so yeah, I'm getting a charge out of using this machine to do little itty bitty jobs here, and the table's so massive. I just love it. Kind of, let me go around. Parts of the Colchester apron, getting that put together. Oh, this is cool. Oh, there's the tap I was trying to use there. Cutting blade for the bucket for the tractor. That's going to come up in a video. So this is cool. I got the shank. I got the whole thing apart. This is a New Britain chuck, made by Union Manufacturing Company. I'm not sure if it's a New Britain or if it's a Union, but so it's 1 inch capacity. It's kind of like an Albright chuck. Yeah, I got the shank out, and you can kind of see the top comes off. So I'm trying to figure out what this taper is. It's 1 inch there, and it's 5/8 of an inch there. And let me get a just see. I'm looking at 6 inches. It's 6 inches, pretty much exactly to where the taper stops. And like I say, 1 inch and 5/8. I might throw that in SolidWorks and see what. And I think it's got flats on it, which I don't know what they do. I don't think they do anything. Because it sure ain't threaded. But, and I know this camera is not good up close, but I think where this shank, there's a step and then it goes into this bigger part where the flat is. I think that's where the taper breaks. I'm thinking there's a Jacobs taper inside of here, and I gotta extract it. Normally what you do on a Jacobs chuck, see it's got a male protrusion here, is you drill down inside of the chuck, which is what that is, inside the jaws, and you put a knockout rod and you try to pop the taper out with, like, you know, like a dowel pin or something. But see, the thing is, I think there's a number Morris 3 taper hiding in here. I could grind it. It's big enough for a number 3 Morris. So what I could do is I could chuck on that little nib, and I could this center hole is still good condition, so I could support this with the tailstock, maybe dial that in with the 4-jaw on my grinder, and grind this down to a number 3 Morse taper, and then cut it off shorter, and either do the tang end or a drawbar end. This has no end but a center. So I don't know what this is. I'm thinking Jarno taper, possibly Brown and Sharp. I don't know. But that's a cool find. What you can do to get these out if you don't want to drill through the body, which I don't want to do, is you can drill and tap a hole in the end of the shank so you can thread a bolt in there. Put a big fat heavy washer with a piece of tubing or pipe and push up against the body, and you're extracting it out. Imagine like I'm squeezing a syringe, and that bolt will draw the taper out by pushing through a pipe or a tubing. So that's cool. And this is the top it came off. It was screwed into the back of the chuck. So I'm figuring it out. Either how to extract it or how to regrind it. And I need this tail center to regrind it and support the tail end of it to grind it to Morse 3. But if I drill and tap it for a bolt to do my piece of pipe and extract it, then I lose that. So, or I could drill the end and put a pin in there, but like a 1/4-inch pin, like hardened dowel pin, should not fail in compression. Maybe 5/16, but either way. So that's that. Another thing I've got, there's one in the bag. So these are like milling machine clamps, table clamps. It's a shame these aren't captive, and I think I know a good way to make them captive. But for this pair, I paid 38 bucks, and I believe a gentleman in Virginia makes these in his home shop. And he sells them, and he sells like sub plates, aluminum plates tapped. So I bought these, a little expensive, almost 40 bucks for the two. But so my clamping drawer, I got these, and they're steel. And I got, these are the regular strap clamps. But the guy made them. This is all aluminum, so it won't scar delicate parts. In his home shop, I'm presuming his home shop, it could be business, I don't know. But he just was selling them on eBay, and I'd love to do that someday. So that's what I got. I bought them just because they're kind of cool, and I'll definitely use them. But the fact that he made them in his own, like, I'm presuming home shop, and he's just making money on the side. So that's cool. Trying to think what else I got going on in the shop. Just wanted to show you guys that job with the cylinder head. I still need to get out that boring head I was working on last time. I promised you guys a look and give you a video on that. But just kind of wanted to share. This belongs to a guy named Toby in, I think, California. And I'm just fixing it up. But I mean, I spent hours and hours fixing up that angle plate. But just want to give you guys a little taste of what was going on in the shop. Include some machining, boring machining content that was probably uninteresting. But anyways, till next time, Doozer Shop.